Welcome back to the LCS. Last week, Jat kind of went in on 100 Thieves for whether they were boring or not. I was actually going to point out some nice early proactivity that we saw from 100 Thieves in their game against CLG last week. So where we're at right here is that we're going to be paying attention to Closer coming up for this level 3 gank here. And also another thing to just keep your eye on is the fact that this bot lane is going to be pushing. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about how 100 Thieves as a team kind of responds to other stuff going around on the map. As I kind of let this run through, a few unlucky things are actually going to happen for Dokla. He almost gets this kill. He actually ends up playing this out several successive ganks really well. 100 Thieves just keep attacking him though. So Ssumday does manage to escape. He actually manages to come back in with his TP and get almost the entire wave. I think he only loses a cannon, which is unfortunate, but Contracts decides not to take the red. We're gonna kind of speed through this because what ends up happening is that Closer ends up not getting double scuttled due to that pushing lane and bot, and the fact that FBI and huhi immediately respond and realize that that was one of Contracts' things that he could have done there. And then what ends up happening going into this play is that Closer actually ganks again at 6 minutes. It ends up with a really poor wave state for Dokla, so he's still stuck out here. And Closer is right here, but the more important person in this play is actually going to be Abbedagge, who we've also been kind of critical of his laning or how he's coordinating with the team really early on in the game, not mid to late, but really early. Here, again, they're specifically targeting Dokla. They're making a lot of early proactive moves off their pushing lanes, and he's gonna come in and help net 100 Thieves first blood off of this play. I did want to point this out just because it's something that we've been really critical of 100 Thieves on. And it's something I definitely want to see more from them going forward as we look at their time in the regular season. Because I do think when they coordinate well together, their early game proactivity can be quite good.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also why I predicted them to be the team that might beat EG tomorrow.
Okay.
But I'm also so annoyed at the team because, like, the game before the COG game, they did basically nothing as FlyQuest stacked a Dragon Soul in 23 minutes and lost the game. So I think you and me are actually in agreement with this team. I think they will be fine. I just think they are really laid back in their approach to League of Legends this split because they've turned it on in the playoffs actually 2 splits in a row. They just like wait for playoffs and it's like time for Closer to become like MVP level, but they just haven't done that in the regular splits.
Yeah, and I think the evolution of their comps are something that's interesting because the one in which they played versus FlyQuest and lost, that was the Senna Yasuo game that they had in. So they would have certain ideas and run them, and if it doesn't work, then they'll go back to the tried and true, sort of like what Team Liquid just did, and play towards like front-to-back team fighting. With Ornn top lane, Aphelios or Jinx, something that is a strong front-to-back, and I feel like that's just going to be the identity of 100 Thieves going further, which is not an interesting gameplay just because you are scaling and you're ultimately playing out lanes passively. But, I mean, that really depends on, for me, the jungle matchup because Closer is a really a strong playmaker. So if he's on something like a Lee Sin, then, or a Viego, I suppose, then he's going to make the early game exciting.
I think it's interesting that you talk about the jungle matchup then, considering that in this matchup against TSM, he's got Spica.
That's true.
Competition, right? One of the top performers for TSM and just an individual top performer in the league. But the color around that is all of the roster moves that have happened, to TSM. So my question is essentially, if your focus is on the jungle matchup, does Spica have what it takes to come up against Closer, considering how little we still know about how the rest of those young players on TSM are ultimately going to fare here in the LCS?
I think so, Dash. I mean, they were already doing well in the last game. Specifically, Spica and Maple have been the core of this team, at least their core of their early game success. And the players around them are doing well, specifically their bot lane. Their bot lane has been performing well in the early portions of the game, which is nice to see, especially off the back of what was a pretty damn nice Instinct Penta.
yeah, this was amazing to see. I mean, it's the whole team working together. We've called out the Maple Swain ult. Chime had a really, really good game, and he was someone, when we were talking about this bot lane coming in with Cubby, we were like, we expect Chime to perform well. The really pleasant surprise was Instinct, honestly, because he and Shenyi did not look all that good in Academy, and he just came out and blew everyone's expectations out of the water. It was really awesome.
Yeah, like this could be such a cool story for TSM. It could be. And the thing that has been working for them all year was Spica Maple. So if there's logic around what they're switching around, they're saying, okay, Spica Maple is working, former MVP, big summer split acquisition, but we're 2-5, so blow everything else up. And we know Seoul seemingly has the attitude to it. We were shocked, actually, when we were like, oh, yeah, by the way, he's over 21. Like, he's not this, like, 17-year-old who's true. The LCS. He has a higher level of maturity to try and communicate with the team. Instinct is very young, but that's very common in the AD carry position, and Chime is experienced. So there is a way for it to work. It's just, with how many changes have happened to TSM and the history of the past 2 years, no one expected it to work, but if it does, I think it will be a great story.
Now, speaking of Seoul being over 21, just a quick preview that both Seoul and Chime will join myself and Raz tomorrow on the Bud Light League Lounge.
There we go.
So you get to meet them a little bit more, get to know a little bit more about them. But as we talk about all the roster moves, we do need to re-hit that point that while Seoul steps onto the LCS stage, it's huhi who slots in behind him in a coaching position.
This was so cool to see, just because huhi, when he was on here, he was rooting for Seoul so hard. He was like, I remember my first win on Fnatic. Getting that first win is just so amazing. It was really, really cool to see Seoul immediately jump up and just hug huhi, someone who he cited as, you know, not only an inspiration, but who has been working with him one-on-one and now taking over the coaching role in TSM.
Yeah, and just providing constant guidance on stage and off of stage. And not only just matchups, but people, we say the word experience a lot. That just means, hey, if you're in this situation, like for a good example would be the one situation with Seoul is in, probably not as frequently, is the 3-man top lane dive that he had to face. And he lost a matchup hard because of that. You know, just being able to say, I was in this situation before. And a lot of the times, if you play this lane out well, the one thing you're not thinking about is just like planning ahead and telling your team and giving confidence to your team and like, that your plan is the best plan. So you don't lose the game for your team because of the fact that, like, hey, if they're building a plan to dive you, you need to have a loud voice in this situation. So
Coach huhi looking good up there on stage. Let's go.
He's looking sharp. And I'm just trying to think, this has got to be the fastest transition from in the chair to on the mic.
True.
It's like 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks because he spent.
LCS
you're right. 2 LCS weeks. Yeah.
From being the starting top laner to being like, all right, top laner, pick this. It's so fast.
That's pretty cool though, right? That is one thing I will say about this whole situation is at least there has been a relative fluidity. I know that we've been critical at times of how many changes TSM has made, but at least in this change, as these 3 players move in and huhi slots over, it feels like there haven't been too many hitches, right? And that's the one thing I will say is that picking up that win is going to be a nice morale boost. huhi seems excited about the prospect of being in the coaching position and working with these young players. Yeah. So by all accounts, as long as they can keep that momentum rolling, they're in an okay spot. We had a conversation just off camera, Jet, about how 2-7, while looking bad as a first-round robin record, really is not that far outside of definitely the top 8 playoff picture, but even the top 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're 4 games away from top 2. Like, it's very condensed in the LCS. And like, in terms of the roster shuffling and it working out or not working out, like, as much as you try to divorce results from process, nobody can do it. Yeah. Especially TSM. So like, if they keep winning, it's going to solve everything, right? It's going to solve the fandom. It's going to solve their LCS. Everything is just feels so much better when you can get stage wins. So it's just every game carries such enormous weight for the future of these players.
That's why I think expectations changing is the most important one. Because they came into this split, I'm sure, thinking top 5, want to make it to Worlds, top 3, right? That changes. And you have to recognize that. So when you go up against a team like 100 Thieves, where the last time they faced off, TSM had a huge lead, and they made one key mistake around Drake that caused that let it fall away, right? That was an expectation where they feel like they should have won this. Going into this game, you do want to win, but the expectation for the team isn't that they're going to trounce 100 Thieves or that they're going to beat them. That would be a wonderful surprise. So it's more so just investment in the talent that you currently have.
I'm so glad you brought up the last time they went up against each other, because I feel like when this TSM team first started playing, we were actually praising them for already looking better than their previous iteration, right? Where they were really focusing on having pushing lanes, giving Spica a lot more room. And that's why it's really interesting to go back to 100 Thieves, whether they're going to do a lot of stuff early, because that early game could end up being very interesting, especially for TSM if they want to focus on another game plan like that, and 100 Thieves locks in a more scaling comp.
About another minute to go until we can hop into that slightly delayed champion select. I want to talk about 100 Thieves that returns to form, right? If they are to return to form, how that acts as a test to say this TSM bot lane that we were impressed by last week.
Yeah, I mean, we know the previous forms that 100 Thieves has taken. When they won the split, it was because they were super good about 4-man diving bot and then spreading that lead around the rest of the map. Then they basically always just been really good at diving bot.
Yeah.
But they haven't done that as well, and they've also been quite good at team fighting. So they're dialing more into team fighting, and I think the special sauce for them is if Abbedagge and Closer can control the early game. Weirdly enough, it's just going to turn them into EG, but that's pretty good if they can get to that, and I think they have the players to do it.
Random aside, thought about this going into this game. The matchup that I'm really interested in is Chime versus huhi.
Yeah.
When Chime came into competitive through Academy, I was actually working with him, and my initial support that I was working with in Spring Split was huhi. Second split was Chime, underneath them both on Golden Guardian. So like, it's really nice to see Chime, who played underneath huhi, and you know, when he was initially learning how to, like, the 101 of a competitive, is now going up against him on the LCS stage.
Just because we've got your insider knowledge, how would you compare them as players in the same position? Did they have similar approaches, you know, in terms of the way they looked at the role or even viewed the way the role should be played and act as an ancillary?
huhi was clearly ahead. So like, for me, in the sense that like, I didn't even think huhi should have been in Academy at that time, but his greatest strength was plan building, being able to say what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, like specifically like making it very clear for the team. And Chime was working towards that, so the fact that he was working underneath huhi at the time was great to see. And so like, I feel like Chime made a great transition from being while taking a backseat to other people who are giving information and making plans, he is right now a great information giver and worked into a really strong plan maker. That being said, he's on the same team as Spica, who's going to be predominantly doing that. But I think that helps this team perform much better with 3 new players.
Well, watching him in Academy, I think that's something you can see that he actually improved on from when he first started to now. I think his initiation sense is a lot better in particular. Like, obviously, in Academy, we focused a lot more on the duo bot lane, especially when he was partnered with Ssumday, because that lane was just, like, absolutely blowing people out of the water this spring. But his initiation sense really grew, and he ended up working really well with the team around team fights. So if TSM can get that communication down, it'll look really, really good for them.
100%. Completely agreed. I would think this game would be so sad if it's just like one of the typical 20 minutes, no kills, anything like that, because these are great initiating supports. And I know that Closer and specifically Spica are going to look for fights. So I expect this to be the most action-packed game of the day.
So Thresh v Nautilus is Raz's prediction for the bot lane supports.
Oh, God.
We haven't seen Thresh
10 kills in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
we haven't seen
Rakan, though. I think Rakan.
Ooh, well, I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Well, as TSM's latest roster prepares for their 3rd game together, Spica's talking about what it was like to sub in during a similar situation himself. Take a look.
Especially for the new guys, right? Because this is like, what, their 2nd LCS game? I think it's great. I remember me subbing in like 2019 for TSM when things were not so great. and just winning 1 game, I felt great, and I felt a lot of confidence, and I am able to just, you know, keep playing my game, and I think this will help them a lot as well.
Confidence being the name of the game for TSM, 1-1 on their new roster, and it looks a lot better than it did at the start of the split. Here goes 100 Thieves, though, obviously a very tough team.
Yeah, definitely a tough team. 100 Thieves, this is a pretty big one for the standings for both of these teams, because 100 Thieves, they need to get this win to, again, re-tie Team Liquid for second place. They want that spot. They don't want to let it go. But TSM also one of the most important things to fans right now for this team is making playoffs. And currently, they are in playoffs. Top 8 teams make playoffs. TSM is in 8th place.
They are the line.
So they want to keep that line. They want to start climbing up. They are on that 1-game win streak, playing off a confident Phreak.
Win streak.
To be fair, Jazz said at the beginning of the day, everybody is on a 1-game win streak. Except for Evil Geniuses, far and above the best team.
Of course. Well, here we are on to the draft, though. Curious to see what's going to happen here. Of course, we are on 12.13. It is the new update. Sivir, I believe, should be enabled if you want to play for her. Neela is out for 2 weeks. Pretty much always going to be one patch delayed to new champion releases. Zeri, which is a 2 pick so far for Instinct. We'll have to find his first unique champion in the LCS.
Yes, 12-13, definitely don't want to be letting Zeri through unless you're getting something very big on the other side. Poppy has risen in priority across the entire world super quickly. Very high priority jungler because there's so many champions right now with these dashes that's really easy to interrupt, but it's even aside from that, not even using it as a counter pick into dash champions, has just been a prio jungler.
I mean, she got blind picked, right? We're about to see an Aphelios, like, just we're a good player all the time. And this is neat because it is Spica's first Poppy game in the split.
Interesting thing to me on Aphelios is the change that I've seen in supports where now people are preferring the Aphelios Renata, because Renata has just been the best support. All around, such an insane champion. It's still so tanky for a range support as well, and can provide that engage. People are getting so good with hitting the handshake that it's an engage support as well as an enchanter support. So really think it'll pair quite well with either Aphelios or even Jinx right now too. On the side of TSM, they can try and grab their support quick.
Oh, interesting. So Rakan, of course, able to be happy alongside the Poppy. Jinx, Rakan, going to be plenty aggressive down here for Instinct and Chime. Then they're against Aphelios. No natural escapes on that champion. So if you can land the charm combo, that boy's dying.
Exactly. Go in for the Rakan. Throw down your chompers immediately on him as well. Pretty good CC lock that they have. A little shout out to Captain Flowers for 100 Thieves here.
Yeah. Hey, what if I get locked in though? I mean, I don't know what you'd play it. It feels like it's a Kalista support, you know, it kind of worked there, but taking the sweet time. Tahm Kench going to come through to bring in the safety. So Renata, of course, could have been playing good, was left up in the draft. Not going to happen here. Just going to make sure FBI is going to be safe down there as huhi locks in his, I think his most played support over the last 3 years. I just feel like without stat checking, I'm going to pull a Flowers and be like, huhi plays it more than anything else.
I'm going to say, I'm going to guess that you're wrong.
Yeah?
I think Flowers hit his. I'm going to bet.
All right.
I'm going to bet that play-by-play number 2 is a miss.
All right. I'm just going to look it up.
Okay.
It's going to take a while to load.
I'll continue then. Yeah, because we have the solo lanes to go over now. So most popular blind pick right now is for sure Gnar, but Gangplank also, everybody's willing to trade that. So Gangplank Gnar, the super high prio top sides, and they're banning out specifically Ssumday's Ornn. 100 Thieves have had very, very well structured front to back 5-on-5 fighting. So they take out the Ornn, which 100 Thieves have gone back to time and time again. So a little bit of a target ban here towards Ssumday. Right. Meanwhile, the mid lane, the focus there for 100 Thieves, taking away some of Maple's favorites. Definitely Maple's most played champion in Champions Queue is Swain off the table.
So I found the stat.
Okay.
It's funny looking at who he's match history because like support, mid laner, support, mid laner.
Yeah.
His third most played support behind Leon and Nautilus.
Yeah.
So, all right. Also,
so I win the bet. Yes.
Yep. He is 7-12 on Tahm Kench, by the way. Despite having actually a pretty good career as a support player, has not worked for him across the entire career. Gnar comes through. Pick number 421.
I'm going to guess, yeah. Gnar, no surprise. Gangplank, high possibility for their side. You can also go the Gwen into it, depending on what Soul favors for his matchup. Instinct, though, let's see. What are we going to actually pull out here? Gangplank,
you know your mid lane or your top lane matchup.
Yeah, that's why I say either one of those. Okay, this is much more aggressive, kill-oriented.
Huhi's like, we're picking Yone, bud. Here you go, man. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Maple's Yone. You know, still could be the mid lane. Definitely a versatile pick there with the Yone.
Of course. But they are going to need both either way. So you got your top lane, you got your mid lane. Hovering the Zoe right now. Maple, again, has to blind pick the mid lane option. Zoe certainly gets pressure. I mean, I think Poppy is a reasonably good early scrapper, and Zoe, I think, has a lot of winning lane matchups. So it is going to be Soul on the Yone. We got Zoe here in the mid lane for Maple.
Yeah, Maple always has had that kind of pocket Zoe, too, when he gets put in the blind pick situations. As you say, it's a very non-committal mid lane champion, so regardless of what you're facing up here, not going to be too bad. You can always try and paddle Sar from the far, look for your bubble angles. Some really, really heavy index here into roaming mid lane, and I do think 100 Thieves in the kind of new stage for them have a look best when Abbedagge does get out on the map and roaming quickly. His Silas game that he played was the single best game from him we've seen all year long. So in this last couple weeks of the renaissance for 100 Thieves, which I really think they have kind of retaken control of the LCS standings.
Yeah,
I really emphasize roaming support, roaming mid lanes here for Abbedagge. Lissandra is going to be able to get that versus Zoe. It's actually pretty easy, even with a Trundle jungle. You can push out mid lane and then go roam to make plays.
And I like your idea about this renaissance for 100 Thieves because I agree. Like it's looked reinvented. It looked a lot more dynamic. The roaming mid laner, both Closer and Abbedagge are on first-time picks for this split. We haven't seen Trundle before from Closer, but hey, he's got early gank pressure. You're going to put the pillars down. You can actually do some early scrapping. And Abbedagge on Lissandra, right? If you're sitting in lane trading farm, you are losing that lane. Go do something. And these players have been playing more actively, right? Yeah. Like back when they were clapping the LCS, it was roam out, dive bot, roam out, get something done. And they're back on tips to do that.
And there's real intention with those two picks that you mentioned. The Trundle is one of the premier picks into Poppy specifically for the dueling power. And Lissandra, the playmaker for Abbedagge, let's see it on the Rift. 100 Thieves versus TSM.
On to the Rift we go. Does TSM keep the win streak alive as they bring out several players from both their own and other academy teams to support the Spica Maple duo? Or is it back to the winning ways for 100 Thieves? 7-3 put them in second place. They would look quite strong. I want to see what we get out of this game because honestly, it is a question mark. Again, I bring up your 100 Thieves Renaissance point. It has looked good, but was it just 2 good games or are they really back? I'd love for them to be back, of course.
Yeah.
TSM, was it just 1 good game against FlyQuest or are they actually a solid team now as Soul's going to spot the first beginning of the invade and someday we'll get a slow, but will that be enough for everything else?
Oh, looks good.
Will they chomp him? Will they pillar? He's going to keep running towards that wall and he flashes just for a slow. I don't know if he had to burn it, but got a bit gun shy.
Looks pretty good for the opener for 100 Thieves. No flash on the Yone. Phreak, this is already a matchup that does rely on that all-in threat. Now with no flash, there is 0 escape for Soul on the top lane. So this means Closer has a very nice target up on the top side of the map. Gnar can play safe, stay at boomerang range, or go for the engages. Meanwhile, Yone, no inherent escapes for this champion, so makes both junglers think about ganking / protecting on the top side of the map.
All right, information known as 100 Thieves do get spot on the ward as they're going to leash blue buff. Sweeper, oh! Yeah, he tags the ward just barely. Moves around enough to donate 10 gold to himself, 10 gold to FBI, and Closer going to have a happy clear. Easy smite, yep, there you go.
Yep, nice little bit of extra experience there for FBI and huhi as well. They do lose the first melee minion here. Drops, they don't get the CS, but they did get an experience range, so not too bad.
Worth noting that though mid laners and top laners love getting ward XP because they'll level on 6 CS. For bot lane, there's no convenient breakpoint. You just need all 3 melees no matter what, so not going to do anything too crazy in terms of, oh, level 2 spike early. Doesn't do anything here.
Meanwhile, we do have Spica on the ward here. They know he is currently topside, trying to hover, trying to make sure there's no early ganks onto Soul. Again, no flash always feels super bad for the top laner. Very vulnerable early on in the game because there's way less vision in the game. So it's much easier for junglers to prey on the super long lane.
The Soul gets the first push, again knows that we had the blue buff start for the Trundle, knows he's safe to push the first couple of waves, puts the word down on Tri-Brush, and that should track most of the Trundle ganks. The difficulty is going to be if they lose top Scuttle, Trundle can come like from Raptors upriver and make something happen here. So Soul is going to be playing someone on the edge because since that Tri-Brush was already warded, he's also know that's where his vision is, and Trundle, again, can just Raptors up the river, and Yone won't see it.
Definitely a possibility here. He's hovering towards river side of that Raptor camp too. Maple picks up the exhaust there in lane for Zoe though, so probably don't want to go for the mid lane gank. Maple also, as you can see with our tri-lane view, is hovering to the bottom side correctly where his jungler is. So it's going to be a lot more vulnerability here for Soul. The thing is, If he just runs up there right now, timing would work out so well for closer.
And he's going to be able to get over the wall. Good job. Abbedagge plays it out correctly, gives the angle to cast the E over, so he gets rid of the ward. So the highway, the bottom highway, is owned by TSM. This is something that Abbedagge really wants vision of because the game plan is going to be to roam. And if it's always Fog of War, you never know Spica's waiting for you or something else.
You can see by the minimap, though, that Soul is giving plenty of space to the Gnar, letting Gnar push in, knowing that jungle topside there for the Trundle, he's not going to overextend himself. Yeah. Really, really good safe play and map awareness here communicated from TSM side so that they can kind of bridge this gap, wait for that 5-minute cooldown for the flash to come back up.
Yeah, you saw him using E for the CS. Like, yeah, he's playing it fully defensively. Of course, Yone is more of a scaling pick compared to his brother Yasuo. That guy's like, spike 2 items, go, 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 go. You just are happy trading farm forever and going to, 3-4 on Yone.
Yes, sir. All right. How much of this giant triple stacked wave can he catch? This is the big, big point for Soul. Should be able to get most of them. All right. Hasn't dropped one yet.
That's good.
Cannon soaking all the damage now.
2.
One more shot. Easy
3.
cannon.
Oh!
One
that
melee.
was Pog, though. Actually blocked him that CS right there. So came in at 14 CS. He's going to end with 9 of it. So definitely dropped around 4, I think, was the rough numbers there. But yeah, first thing ever. Nice little bit of damage. Oh, nearly lands at the root. And the turret's going to be 2 shots, but Chime will be fine.
Good and necessary move there from Abbedagge. It doesn't have to give up any meaningful cooldowns here. Escapes the mid-roam timer. Chime was a little bit quicker on the recall from bottom lane, a little bit earlier on that roam. Meanwhile, Soul, of course, was playing a lot safer, as we said, because he did not have flash. Coming back up pretty soon now here, and you can, again, try and threaten this mini Gnar. Doesn't quite see
the ward.
He didn't pass over it.
Okay. Yeah, couldn't come back over and say, hang on a second. He moved back. Something was there. Yep, ward in the brush. Might as well kill it. And now you don't know if I'm going for the repeat gank. So theoretically, if someone's at half health, he's not got Mega Gnar already. It's like, this is diveable. And you can sometimes have that pressure available. Gonna look for the knockup. The Chompers come down, trying to get away from FBI. It will keep him out of range, so Instinct will be safe, but he burns his own cleanse to get rid of the slow. Now a bit of a damage on towards Chime. Has a person to jump to, though, and not gonna be too bad. A single summoner burns, not the worst.
Yeah, good peel there from Chime to try and delay FBI. That purple gun can be devastating in ganks. So good timing attempt from 100 Thieves, but good evasive maneuvers there. Peel from Chime. And so far, we just have the laning differences here, with the CS difference on top being the majority of the 100 Thieves victory. Meanwhile, bottom lane pushing in, and the gank from closer accomplishes the main goal, which is get your bottom lane priority. Once you have bottom lane priority, then the objectives are so easy for Trundle to pick up.
Yep, control ward on that rush over there. Sees that indeed Maple Spica aren't coming, so no problems down there. Even did see Spica on the top ward a while back, and knew we had some time for it.
Oh, they
so
could
really
go for it on Spica, though.
Gonna try, force the flash early, because that would have been a CC combo, would have been a death.
Exactly, the benefits of having that playmaking mid lane. The CC threat from Abbedagge forces the flash from Spica and reclaims crab control for closer.
Ah, nice. Which one's more important, crawl closer or crab closer?
Crab closer is crawl closer. That's
like
the secret.
That's important. Well, pretty close game right now. First Drake has gone 100 Thieves' way as top lane, a bit of a swamp right now. 12 CS down. Soul yearning for a bit more, but as long as they can keep it down here, it's not horrible.
Yeah, I'd say that's about the price of a level 1 burning your flash. You know,
okay.
Level 1 invade, burning your flash. Have to play a lot more cautiously. Allowing the Gnar to then push right back in on you.
Time it. All right. Yep, able to hit E back in time for the W. Takes the stun, takes the damage, but
yeah,
moves back to safety. Now you kind of got to wait out the Mega Gnar damage.
Yeah, Yone E is great. Yeah, you can immune CCs with either part of the E. Always nice to be able to start from safety and then pull right back. Meanwhile, though, the way Closer wants to play this for Trundle is focusing on the neutral objectives, and he's done just that. Just a little bit of a pressure gank towards bottom to allow him to do so. Always better and way safer for junglers to go gank for the lane by the objective you want to go for first to get your pressure for that lane, so then they can come over and give you that extra priority. He did that for bottom lane, and we're now approaching 8 minutes, Phreak. You know what that means? Rift Herald on to the map. So we've got the recalls first from the 100 Thieves bottom lane, and they've got the option to go straight out mid. I always love when you do this. 8-minute timer, recall your bottom lane, go out mid, and you can make for these Rift Herald plays.
Yeah, and you give yourself the option, right? You lose like 5 seconds, you decide, we'll go bot after all. Oh no, I pathed like slightly into triangle, like we're still gonna catch the wave, it's fine, but you get the option, of course, to go into the Herald itself, and so out there onto the mid lane, and there's the play. And this is a play that we saw also come out from Evil Geniuses. This 8-minute swap of the dual lane instantly walks mid. Your mage, your mid laner walks bot. And if Abbedagge has TP back up, he can just show up anyway.
And Lissandra, oh, never mind, we have an all-in.
Yeah, 2v1 pretty soon, has to flash again. Just 5 minutes after we did the first one, basically, the pillar comes down, summoner back on cooldown.
There goes your Rift Herald, I think. You know, that's all 5 people roaming up for TSM, but now there's no ult and half health on Soul. They could actually, they're bringing Lissandra up. Rift Herald takes so long that you actually have the choice of delayed calling your bottom laner up. So 100 Thieves, they push in bottom and they call the Lissandra over.
Ice Smite is almost enough. It's like right about the break point right here. Okay, needs a bit more. There it is. Blue Smite 900. Here we go. Second Blue Smite gets it. Well timed by Spica. Soul 1 HP, but here comes Ssumday. A shield's not going to be enough. They'll take him down for first blood. And the chase down is on. Spica is low, and Spica is dead. 2-0 100 Thieves. Herald I not claimed.
This is perfect because even though 100 Thieves don't get the smite onto Rift Herald, this emphasizes our PSA of the day. This whole game, Phreak, is going to be PSA. Gank the lane by the objective that you want to go for first. Closer ganks bottom lane, they get the dragon. They gank top lane, and just by chunking Soul and getting his ult down, they severely weaken the TSM team fight enough so that when they call up Abbedagge, even though they lose the smite fight, they get the kill afterwards. So here's another look at it. And again, Herald takes so long. Closer actually does a good job evading Spica's ult, but Spica nails the smite. They don't get the reward of actually picking up the eyeball, but you still get the 100 gold for nailing it, and you make sure that 100 Thieves don't get to claim it. Abbedagge with the flank, he can just self-ult for the Lissandra, make sure he's not in any danger, and they slow down the Poppy enough for the catch up here. So really, really great opening from 100 Thieves. And attention to detail, you know, this is what people talk about when they say fundamentals. A lot of times in League of Legends, people just say, yeah, you know, our fundamentals were bad, and they don't elaborate on it. But this is exactly a perfect game for that. Nicely displayed by 100 Thieves.
Well, beautiful start right now. 1,800 gold in the lead. Pretty big lead in the top lane right now. Okay, Spica to find a smite, a knockback, decent damage on a closer. His flash is down. Chomper's not going to land, but Maple on the way back over. They get a chop, and they get instinct to claim the kill. There's one on the board there.
Nice bit of vengeance here for TSM. Spica calling the shots, bringing 4 people into the enemy jungle to find closer, and they take down the king.
It's going to bring it back a little bit right now as they can look back towards the bottom lane. This turret basically untouched right now. Would love to get something going on as he moves towards either Kraken or Gale Force on this build.
And they also, since they killed Jungler, again, they have an opportunity to actually take the second dragon here and stop 100 Thieves from their snowball of neutral objectives. So really, really nicely done. It's not just a gank on the enemy jungler, frustrating them. Oh, there's 4 people here. Pointed kind of assassination in the jungle, and they get the objective also.
Well, it brings Instinct's LCS KDA to 20. Finds you a player whose KDA is higher than his age. It's going to look pretty good for all players.
That's actually insane. I love that. I want a plaque for that. You need an award for that. KDA higher than his age. He's gotten he's also gotten a pentakill in 50% of his LCS games so far. So
it's a good stat.
Pretty good odds there.
Yeah. Kind of pentakill percent higher than age, and then less interesting probably. Ssumday gonna push the wave in though. 2 already down. Of course, they would have loved to have their own Herald, but it was claimed by a very good smite from Spica, kind of with Q2, and that means that turret will live, as there's nothing to really deal extra damage right now. Still a minute 45 on the plates as FBI gets some decent damage out, just mostly a poke ult. Bit of shielding coming across, but they feel so confident out here on the Thieves. Both AD carriers wielding a kill, but upgraded boots here for FBI makes it feel pretty comfy.
Yeah, always feels nice. You know, Aphelios lanes playing for the plates. That plate money is the real win there. A lot of times super hard to get those 2v2 lane kills, but plate money is always going to be there. So that's one for the 100 Thieves bottom lane. Recalling on a nice timer there as well. Speaking of plates, Ssumday.
Ooh, ult's gonna get him with the aggro, so it's gonna force a flash into Ssumday. Really nicely timed. He might have a damage. Oh, it's gonna be almost enough. One more shot, I think, is it. Oh, not quite enough damage. Rank 2E, not that much of a damage amp ultimately. The Soul gets some of the farm back down 17, but makes Ssumday work for it.
Yeah, really, really nice stuff there from him. Ssumday was able to dodge the very last little Q there from him, so not quite enough damage to squeeze out. I saw a Jinx rocket go. By the way, the mini-map, I saw a Jinx rocket go up there. It was fishing for Ssumday, but I'm guessing huhi blocked it or something. On the mini-map, it looked like it collided with their champion models. I'm going to credit huhi maybe with blocking that, because Ssumday was in execution range for that.
Oh, for sure.
Good attempt from Instinct.
Yeah, he's throwing those out, doing pretty well for himself. Back to the bottom lane. Second turret plate drops. FBI farming up a Storm. He's up 20 farm and the 2 plates. Of course, they've already traded kills back in earlier team fights, so yeah, feeling very good. 100 Thieves back to the old winning ways with a very big bottom lane. And we'll see if Abbedagge and Closer can keep the proactive plays going.
Yeah, I've definitely been a super big fan of Aphelios recently, especially with a lot of the more aggressive combos of supports. But, I mean, they locked in that defensive one really early. They're like, you know what? Biggest thing for us, we just got to keep FBI safe. We trust FBI so much for these 5-on-5 fights. Just get him the extra summoner spell of the Tahm Kench ultimate, and he will be able to carry 4 later. Nice CS lead for them. Turret plate money also been acquired, so we'll see if 100 Thieves can build around him. Red-white guns currently, so you have to think twice about going for those engages.
2 minutes till Drake comes up. Split a piece. You don't have to fight for this one. There's not going to put that much pressure onto the map. Top 3 gold earners, FBX total gold. Yeah, FBI, Ssumday, Abbedagge, the 3 major carry threats on this team. Salute to 100 Thieves. Having a great start. And they're going to keep some control. And right now, they are hatching wards, so TSM would like to find that little cheeky play, but Instinct walking through one, going to give away some of this one. huhi, not going to be in range for much. Goes back to safety. Oh, they're going to try here with Spica. And if you ever start that W channel, you can get the tackle in time to interrupt it, so huhi just walks away, and he's fine.
But the one thing to me for this game that I am a little bit sad we didn't see too much of was kind of the roaming Lissandra that I was trying to hype up and looking for.
Yeah.
We didn't get too much of movement from Abbedagge, though just kind of the threat a couple times got them the mini objectives of like Crab and burning Summoner Spell off Spica. And he has farmed quite nicely, but once he is able to base one more time, should have a pretty big power spike. Mythic completed, has stopwatch, so I think after the next base, we'll probably see Abbedagge try and influence the map a bit more than we've seen thus far.
Pretty good damage here from Spellbook. Ignite dives in for a bit more. He might have it. Self-ult. It's a heal. When's the next 2 come up? What's the timing going to be like? A little bit early on. The stopwatch was the reason. And now Maple has not much else to do, so I believe this is not killable under the tower anymore. Hill looks decent, but no cooldowns available. So Spica's here for reinforcements. 2v1. Knock, but the ult's already down. So plenty of stats on Closer. Should not be killable either. Red Smite for an auto attack, but yes. Closer ulti has a lot of durability.
I'm trying to set it up for Abbedagge to do something, but now he burns 2 really important cooldowns. No ult, no stopwatch. Maple just chunking out 100 Thieves members to get them mid-priority here. Even sends Closer back into the jungle. Nothing of value actually gained for TSM, though. The extra little bit of pressure does...
Oh, the dive! FBI is in, chumped right back out. Beautiful. Drake is up in 8 seconds. Those 2 missing ults would have meant Dragon, but now a missing AD carry means more.
Phreak, did I say a defensive support? I meant Tahm Kench, their turret dive enabler. So sick right there. FBI with the Gale Force play into Tahm Kench ultimate to eat him right back out. Look at that splash on the setup here. Two splash setups from the blue gun, and he goes in. FBI, love to see that. And then even with the knockup, doesn't matter. huhi is able to eat him up. And as you said, Closer heading straight for that Dragon. So 100 Thieves will pick up the Dragon. TSM obviously also recognized, great, our AD carry's dead. They're probably going to go Dragon. So let's at least trade something. Rift Herald number 2.
A little something out of that. We'll see if they find their first turret then as a result. They, of course, did not crash the first one because it wasn't able to be picked up. Smite looks pretty easy. Going to be claimed by Spica. Look for a turret to kill. Mid lane is pretty low. Not quite a charge by itself, but nearly that. So a strong breeze afterwards to get them first turret of their side. Second Drake for 100 Thieves will be locked in, no problem. We are on the way towards an Ocean Soul. Of course, still a ways to go to that one. 10 minutes at the minimum. And I think there's a lot of game to play until that happens. So 100 Thieves have the lead, and TSM will start to feel the pressure soon.
All right, so bottom side turret killed for 100 Thieves. Mid turret, they use the Herald for TSM. So TSM gets the little bit of a trade there, but 100 Thieves still very happy. Opening up those side lanes feels very, very good considering Ssumday's up to his Trinity Force already, plus the safety of the Warden's Mail. Meanwhile, Soul, because of the early flash blown and early start there, losing so much with the extra tower money going into Ssumday, is quite behind on picking up. There we go. As we mentioned it, though, first back does get his Blade of the Ruin King plus the upgraded Berserker Greaves, so the attack speed is there. And Blade of the Ruin King is such a powerful single item right now. Actually, you're talking about, yeah, it's a champion you love to scale with, but that at least is a little mini power spike that does feel quite nice, even though you're not going right into your crit and trying to get to your infinity edge, so it does delay that a little. For sure.
That's actually a nice synergy with Yone's kit itself as we get a bit of mid-siege and the disengage. Spica actually going to look for a closer, forcing the flash away because Soul wanted to eat for a bit more damage, but he's already flashed away. So that actually is pretty big damage out of Zoe. So they force the ulti out of huhi. Can't find the knockup though, nor the charm. Maple forced to burn his own flash. Get out now, and here comes Mega Gnar. Sent right back out. No thank you. A stopwatch for Maple. A knock with the backside. Ton of zone out. Abbedagge, already the mid laner is dead. An ulti to follow up. Spica might be dropping as well. 500 health left. Will stay alive. 100 Thieves, 1 for nothing.
That was a beautiful coordinated 2-flank engage from 100 Thieves. You have Ssumday coming from one side, they eject Ssumday, but there's another flank coming. Abbedagge finds it, and they get the extra kill there. So nice job from 100 Thieves coordinating everybody on that attack towards mid. All 5 members. Starts out with chasing down Closer, and Closer having to blow flash, but ends with 100 Thieves' big victory. So if you look at the minimap, 100 Thieves are going to have Lissandra come from this side, and then teleport comes in for Gnar from this side. They're able to eject immediately. Very good ultimate here from Spica. A little bit of gymnastics from Ssumday, but Abbedagge actually now paying for the split push with his life.
Yeah, seemed to identify that he was flanked and just went to go down the tower. Only gave kill credit over to Chime, so no assist money handed over. 150 gold denied, and obviously gold on Rakan. Less good than on a Yone, so
yeah. If you're gonna die, yeah, exactly. If you're gonna die, that's the best possible scenario. Only giving kill credit to a support, plus no assist, bonus 50%. But
it's something.
Still, he was pushing out with no other members on 100 Thieves on the map with any pressure. That little bit of lapse in judgment as far as the coordination with the team. We'll see if it actually ends up costing them. Big Rakan coming through.
So wanted to point out the thing he's talking about with Blade of the Ruin King on Yone. So the way Yone's E works, technically E is true damage, but what it snapshots is damage you've dealt like after armor and everything else. So you still pass through armor and shields and whatnot on the way in. But because Ruin King is % current health damage, you're snapshotting the best part of Ruin King.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, great, we've stacked up 1400 damage. Pop! And it's like, I just got to pass the rest of that all through without, your health being lower, without armor rattling a second time. And so it does have really good, specifically Yone synergy.
Yeah, and that's why it does feel so good as this rush item. There's a few champions in the game that do spike quite nicely on it. Some Twitches as well like to rush that sucker. Meanwhile, vision over the Baron results in an engage from huhi.
Knock up onto Spica, pretty tanky though on the Poppy. The Pale's not going to get much down. It's actually more of a disengage. Blocks the shot. That would have been like 200 health left onto huhi. So actually very important by Closer to walk up, take the paddle star. And it's going to be safety indeed. 4,000 gold lead though. 100 Thieves feeling so good right now. Abbedagge spotted by a sweeper, but just jumps the wall and Spica not there to stop him. Control words. Vision is had. Spica does have Hex Flash. Yeah. He's got Zoe coming. Just out of range in time though.
That plus the extra dragon lead and the extra turret lead for 100 Thieves does mean that there are objective bounties up for TSM.
Rooted. He's not quite gonna die, but this is a lot of damage coming out. But yeah, the ulti would have not quite killed, but would have come close. And Chime is out.
Yeah, it does mean, okay, so further importance though on these objectives now for TSM, because there is the possibility of trying to cash in on some objective bounties. Coach Huni Gap, let's go. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see if they're able to coordinate, because currently 100 Thieves have run of the map, and this should mean that we get this vision line from 100 Thieves increasing. Middle tower down, so now you get to move into these areas, start cutting off some of the jungle income as well. Dragon coming up right now would be Soul Point. TSM could fight it if they feel like they're just gonna keep on losing territory. A little bit of vision into the back of Dragon Pit at least will mean something here. Spica could even go for a steal attempt. There is a cone behind Dragon as well.
Yeah, the Drake hits it though. One of the nice benefits of attacking and walking away is it will aggro someone in a brush. The Drakes have true sight. See over the brush. I mean, they're tall. They can just look down. You know, the leaves aren't in the way, really. It's a pretty big advantage, to be honest.
Dragon's Eye view.
Yep, Abbedagge spotted on the sides. They evict one. Smite should be there, and it's claimed. Well done. No Trundle available, but Spica probably going to drop for this one. Burns his flash. Ssumday still there, though. Will not be slowed. He's Mega Gnar. His flash is down.
The heist?
With a chem tank. Spica hit the chem tank, got the slow, got out of range.
Oh, Abbedagge's got the flank.
Might find a knock-up, almost there. Here comes a knock-up. Goodbye, Chime to buy some time. Soul dives on in, but he's gonna die for it. A self-ult, but Maple keeps him safe. And close to 1 for more, so Maple, he's likely to drop as well. A 2 for nothing, and every single time TSM fights for an objective. TSM kills or loses 2 as 100 Thieves slay him.
And Abbedagge barely gets in the back there for the flank, and they lock down Soul. Stun lock to 0 in his E, getting the kill. 2 picked up. That's gotta be Baron Phreak. Yeah, big rewards here for 100 Thieves. They're gonna be able to reset right after that and go for a hard push into TSM territory.
Down goes a bit of vision, and here comes the play. Good luck with doing anything Spica on the other side of the map. Not even has Smite, no flash. It's gonna be definitely Baron picked up. 100 Thieves looking like a win.
Yeah, objective bounty maybe here for Instincts, going to attempt it, as Abbedagge does not have ult, so I think Instinct should actually be okay in that 1-for-1, especially if you get the tower low enough. You don't want to mess with the excited Jinx.
Yeah, always gonna be able to walk away from that one. Not gonna be a problem there in this at all. Shadow Flame is in though for a burst build, and we can try that one again. Spica getting a really good keeper's verdict to make the play.
Yeah, always looking for the enemy jungler. Ejects closer, then they just need a little DPS on the dragon. Thought this was gonna be a really clean heist from them because they almost got out. Maple lands a bubble onto the Aphelios, so the damage isn't gonna chase them down, but they go over towards Chime and Spica, and so Abbedagge takes the closer route out on the outside there, and he's able to get right in with the extra move speed. Then it looks like a great clump of an ult, but it's a self-ult there from Abbedagge, and they finish up Soul with the extra damage.
Yeah.
Maple as well went in with the R, so off of the initial position, they chased him back down. Really do say the value of that spellbook for Abbedagge, switching over to Ghost and that extra move speed kind of allows him to get that position, so
yeah.
Definite value there.
Yeah, Soul was briefly unstunned, so I could tell the bar of his head said stunned, but then I saw his actual name back up, so there was a lapse where he could have maybe mashed E and gotten out. Maybe still would have died, so I can't say it was misplay, but theoretically had the chance to try to snap back and stay alive. But yeah, TSM just not able to get the damage ultimately, right? 100 Thieves tanky, they landed the crowd control, and they look pretty good. So another objective bounty claim. Bot and top outer have been killed, so 3 turrets to 4, but it's walking back a very large deficit here. Red Bull Baron power play. Looks like 500, but it's going to also look like a dead inhibitor pretty soon.
Chime on the flank here. There's plenty of 100 Thieves wards, though, so they still have vision of him. I mean, they know he's there. Just a little 4-1 split push. Abbedagge will finish up the secondary turret there towards mid, and they've got plenty of time to work with on this Baron buff. Another couple waves to be able to push in here. Hard for TSM. They kind of have to force something.
Interesting call. They pulled back Soul. He could have gone for top tier 2, and yes, it would have sacked an inhibitor, but he would have gotten, like, 1,000-something gold off of top lane tier 2 plus the turret bounty. But if him being here helps him save an inhibitor, they're making that call.
Yeah, I think they made the call exactly to go for the team fight here. Not, they really don't want to give up extra minion pressure from the inhibitors.
They lost mid-turret. Here's the dive, but it's going to be really bad for Maple. Gets away just barely with his life, and Mega Gnar for something, and there's already Zoe dropped. Chime can't find anything to do, and it's going to be everything just dying now. There's no way out anymore. Second kill going to be found. Spica lives as long as he can. Even huhi's going to stay alive. Chime with the second knockup, but not enough damage to come out of Instinct. Soul now pretty much left alone here. The root comes in. Well done by Abbedagge. Another double kill comes through for FBI, and 100 Thieves looking to make it a 9-2 victory. Well under 30. Bit of proactive play. They fought for the objectives. They won every time they did. Barely any casualties. The turrets taken were mostly just bounties at the very end of it all. 100 Thieves, a commanding victory over TSM. They were back at the fountain, fighting as valiantly as they did. But a few more drop in. Instinct's KDA has been halved and halved again. Goodbye, goodbye, TSM. Well done, 100 Thieves.
FBI ends with 6-0 scoreline. Not killed a single time on the Aphelios. Topside as well, Ssumday, the Gnar, off of the level 1 invade, blowing the Yone's flash. Just full control. 4-0 for him as well. Very clean and controlled stuff here from the 100 Thieves. Loved how they early set up and got priority for these neutral objectives. Closer ganking the lane first, transitioning over, picking them up. Lane advantages on both sides. and finishing it out pretty nicely here versus the new TSM squad.
Felt like a lane diff everywhere. You had CS leads on all 3 of those farming roles. Jungle was close, I guess, but like, I don't know if the Poppy versus Trundle farm matchup is one that matters. But it was under Thieves playing a much better game. It's cool to see huhi and FBI back in action to that very high degree. I mean, Instinct, I think, has been a solid player, but hey, guess what? You know, FBI was stepping up today.
Also, we got a little cherry for the analyst desk. They're like, love talking about 100 Thieves diving bottom lane, Phreak. Dive bottom lane. They're so cool when they dive bottom lane. Well, they didn't need jungle or mid lane to dive bottom lane. Yeah. They just did it themselves. Aphelios, Tahm Kench, Gale Force dive bottom lane. The 2 Infernum splash shots to set it up himself.
Yeah.
Nice to see the killer instinct coming back from those 2 and dominating.
Yeah, I mean, really, really good stuff. I'm a big FBI fan. I think he's a great player. He does play very aggressively, so I think at his best, he can kind of do it all. He can play the farm back and play team fights, and he can just dive you by himself. And so,
and those are the dream Gale Force plays.
Oh yeah,
the best ones are when the AD carry is actually making an assassination play. That's what makes the item cool, not the dodging, you know, engage. I feel like those ones less so. So nice to see it when it's offensively used every time.
It was fun stuff. So after the break, Closer will be joining the State Farm Analyst Desk, but as we go, get your magic wands and wings because it's Star Guardian season. Check it out.
I said no, Seraphine.
This is a league built on speed and precision, where everything needs to perform at a pro level, especially your hardware.
They blocked the road. They want to complete the final piece of the puzzle. They don't have enough damage for it, but who cares? It's all a formality, baby. The winner of LCS Lock-In.
Even if you're hard stuck plat, like me, forever. Rockat, the official mouse and keyboard of the LCS.
The announcement that Dignitas would be starting Spawn this week was very exciting for Joshi and I. So we decided to put together a short video talking about Spawn's highlights in Academy. The first thing to know about Spawn is he's a naturally gifted team fighter. In this clip, down 8k gold, IMT makes one mistake and Spawn punishes, deleting Gwen while dodging every cast of Needlework. From there, Spawn takes targets one at a time, and flashes to make a big play onto Pretty. It's just a stopwatch and an unraveled Earth that stops Spawn from unraveling IMT's entire gold lead. But his positioning and ability to DPS in fights is consistent. While Spawn's usually opted to be safer in fights, we've also seen him find more windows to go in. In this late game scenario against Golden Guardians, he maximizes his DPS as Kai'Sa until he finds the perfect chance to delete the Ezreal in the backline. Cap this off with baiting Corki into his death, makes for an easy late game teamfight and Nexus falling in favor of Dig A. Expect consistent performances and few positioning errors from Spawn in teamfights. Now to Joshi with more on how Spawn has improved his laning.
Since his joining of Dignitas Academy in 2021, Spawn has made marked improvements in his ability to play as a marksman. No longer is he simply the incredibly reliable AD carry that we always knew him to be. He is now stepping up, making aggressive plays, and creating win conditions for Dignitas. Coordinating with Mama Bear, his longtime duo partner JJ, Spawn has begun taking more risks because of his confidence in coming out ahead in the plays. Because of this, his first blood rate has increased from 19% in spring to 27% in summer. Now, this is against tough opponents like Tomo and Diamond, Kairi and Smoothie, Misha and Breezy, and even Yone and Ayla. Trevor Spawn Taylor was already on my shortlist for most valuable prospect candidates, and as he continues to blossom into an aggressive playmaker, Spawn is absolutely ready to play in the LCS.